Right, so today what I wanted to do, something a little bit different. I want to go more into a gaming route with my channel, and a game that I've been really just hyped up about. I want to make content about. It's the only game that I actually talk about on the channel at the moment is Marvel's Avengers. Depending on what you actually think of the game, I quite enjoy it. I think there are problems with it. I say this as a caveat to every video that I make about this game, but I like it. I want to see it do well, and I think at the moment it is in a trajectory to be a good game, and I think a lot more people should give it a chance and not just say, oh, it had a bad launch, so it's going to be bad forever. I think there's a lot of examples where games have come out as being bad and have then fixed themselves to be good. Like No Man's Sky now is amazing. Battlefront 2 came out as a bit of a mess, and now just before the servers went down, it was actually really good. A lot of other games have come out to backlash, and then they've fixed themselves after the fact. Yes, a game should come out and be good as a product on its own, and not have to come out bad and fit it, not just release now and fix later. But I think there is an argument to having patience, especially with games like this when it is a games as a service, because obviously the thing that comes out first isn't going to be the finished product, because you still have plenty more things to roll out. And I think the caveat with having a games as a service game is there is always the chance, there is a lot more chance with a games as a service game to be fixed later on, or to become amazing later on, because it has the constant updates, the constant rollouts of content, the constant just like reinvigorations of life. I feel like a game like this every month will have a reinvigoration of life, and now there will be more people finding this game through like Spider-Man dropping, through Clint dropping, through Black Panther dropping, and they'll see a better product than people from the start got, and the people from the start will see the constant evolution of this game. That being said, we're not there yet, and that's where that's where I wanted to come in with this video, and to kind of give you guys 5 things that, in my opinion, I think Marvel's Avengers needs to do in 2021, not 2020. God, get that year out of there. 2021. I'm going to do this nearly at the end of January, because this is the only time that I've had to actually sit down and do this video. I actually only had this idea a few days ago when I saw someone else do it, and they did 11. I'm doing 5 because I always like to do half of what the competition are doing, and hopefully scale away by doing the bare minimum. But anyway, I'm gonna give 5 things. Honestly, I could only think of 5. I like doing the top 5 because it's a nice round number, and it doesn't give me as much to think about. So there we go. But I'm gonna list off 5 things this game needs to do this year, the year of 2021, the year of Marvel's Avengers, hopefully, fingers crossed, that will make this game amazing, that will make this game great, that will hopefully bring a new lease of life on this game that is less than a year old, and bring new players. Starting off with number 5. Before I get into the list, I wanna first talk about I've been playing Marvel's Avengers a lot on Twitch. I play other games as well. I've just started going back to Injustice 2. I did an Injustice 2 stream this morning, actually, and I wanted to put in like a little thing. Like, you will see game footage during this video. The game footage that I used is from my streams. If you want to see my streams at the time when they're actually coming out, there will be a link to my Twitch in the description of the video, and there will be a pinned comment of my Twitch. So if you're interested in that, go watch my streams and come and say hi. But anyway, let's get into number 5. Number 5 is just consistent character drops, and this doesn't mean they have to be frequent with it. This doesn't mean that they have to bring out a new character every month. It doesn't mean that they have to bring out like 12 characters a year. It means that they have a consistent rate when you know this is when a character's dropping, and it can be bi-monthly, it can be it can be they come out at the start of the year and they say, right, we're getting 4 new characters this year. And I feel like that is like, you know, it's respectable to think that they can do that. They can bring out 4 new characters a year. It's like last year they took like the game came out in September, and we didn't get a new character until December. So that can either say that they spent a lot of time working out the bugs from the launch, and that they wanted to make sure that the first new character drop was perfect. That could make sense. And now that they've done that, they have like a lot of characters in the back burner that they can just bring out frequently, so that they have that a new character every month mentality. So that means they get a spark of new players every month, because they're going to see the new shiny thing and they're going to be like, I want to play as Hawkeye, I want to play as War Machine, I want to play as Black Panther, I want to play as Spider-Man. And that could be a smart way to do it. But I think a new character every month, with the story stuff, with making sure that there is content to go with the new character, and there is stuff to play that's different than what you've already been playing with Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow, and Kate. There is kind of this big floating thing where this game needs more content, and that the Kate stuff, at least in my opinion, I don't think it was long enough. I liked what was there, but I would have liked more of it. I would have liked an extra hour or two just to delve into Kate's story a bit more. And I think the DLC storyline stuff needs to be more like the actual main story. It needs to be like an expansion on everything that made the main story amazing, and really ramp that up and turn it up to 11 and put that stuff at the forefront, instead of the stuff that players have been saying isn't the best stuff in the game. So that's what I mean by consistent character drops. What I mean by that is just let the players know when to expect characters, and have characters come an equal space of time between each other. If you want to go monthly, then make sure that a new character comes out. If you bring out Clint on the 15th of February, then we should expect Spider-Man on the 15th of March, and Black Panther on the 15th of April, and so on and so forth. If you bring out Clint on the 15th of February, and you say, right, characters are going to be bi-monthly now, then the 15th, or within that week, characters should come out in the same week a month apart, or in the same week 2 months apart. Or that's what we need to see. We can't have a character come out on the 15th one month and then come out on the 31st another month. That just, it's not consistent, and it's not like, it doesn't feel like you could say that and then like, well, they might as well just have come out in the next month, and they might as well. Well, why were they like coming out that late when Clint came out early? Why is that the case? That's what I mean, basically. Yeah. Number 4 is new villains. And this is like, plain and simple, this is the main thing that I want, because I'm not playing this game for the multiplayer. I may, as stuff continues and I find more people to play this game with, and more players come into this game, and like if people that I'm friends with find interest in this game, find interest in Marvel's Avengers, if a certain character comes out and a certain amount of content comes out that like is fun for like my actual friends in real life, then maybe I'll be more invested in going into the multiplayer stuff. But as of right now, I don't really have anyone to play the multiplayer stuff with, so I don't care about I don't want like stuff to be gated at multiplayer stuff. So what I want is more villains to be added, so that there's more villain sectors, so that there's more like stuff for raids, so there's different things to fight. There's different like villains to fight. And I mentioned this in the last video when I said about maybe when Spider-Man drops, make a raid for the Vault and have you fight the Sinister Six in that Vault raid, and then you can fight each individual member of the Sinister Six in a villain sector. Maybe do that, or maybe have like an elite boss that's like that you need to bring a lot of players into, and it can be like an 8-man thing. You need 8 players to go in and fight like a really souped up version of like the leader or the Abomination, or like a really big threat like Thanos if they get to that point, or like you need 8 men to go in and fight Maestro. That could be interesting, but we're not even at the point where we've got 8 playable characters, so we'll see what happens as we go forward with the game. But I think what we need is just more like different things to do, and with having more villains to fight, like more iconic villains to fight. Like I don't want just generic robot number 5 to come in. Yes, the Super Adaptoid is a character that exists in the comics, but it's not an iconic character. It's not recognizable, and there's nothing different between that character model and the other Adaptoids in the game. It's just bigger and got a shield. There's nothing that separates the Super Adaptoid character model and the regular Adaptoids, apart from size, and it's got a few extra weapons. It's not a character, it's got nothing to do with the story, it's just a thing to fight. And there's no difference between that and the plane mech and the walker mech. The walker mech is a fun fight, I'll give it that, but I'd rather fight Abomination, I'd rather fight the leader, I'd rather fight the Wrecking Crew, I'd rather fight Loki, and I would rather fight any like character, any like actual Marvel Universe character, than fighting just those generic robots. And fucking Monica Rappuccini, why would I want to fight literally just another mech? It's like the same as the regular exosuits, but it's just named, and it's got slightly more health and can use fire as well as ice. It's beyond some of the stuff in this game is beyond lazy, and it's some of the later game stuff is beyond lazy. Like the villain sectors as a whole, you can play them whenever you want. They scale with your character's loadout and your character's power level. So you can play one with your power level 40 Kate Bishop, and you can run it, and it's fine. And then you can play it with your level 150, your power level 150 Hulk, and you'll still be fine. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean by adding in more villains and more villain sectors and more iconic villains as well. So yeah, number three is going to be more iconic locations, and you're gonna hear that word iconic a lot in this video, because the game right now doesn't have any. You go to the helicarrier, and that's it. Everything else is just generic street, generic town, generic like desert, generic snowy tundra, generic cliff face, generic building. There's no Avengers tower, there's no Asgard. They're bringing in Wakanda eventually. There was no new locations added with Kate, and even then, like, even before that, nothing was like a recognizable thing from Marvel Comics or from the films. Like, the thing with that is that I don't have a problem going through generic buildings or generic hallways or whatever, but I would like this Avengers game to live in an Avengers world. There's nothing to say that this can't just be the same world as GTA or something that's just set in a generic city. There's nothing that counteracts from this being Marvel's New York to being New York City, New York. There's no, like, even when you go to the mission set in New York, you can't go to the Baxter Building, the Daily Bugle, the Sanctum Sanctorum. You don't see anything there that's like iconic to the Marvel universe or Marvel character lore. And it would just be nice to bring in some stuff that's like actually from Marvel Comics, and it would be cool to see these landmarks and these areas be playable in an Avengers game, because you want to see Avengers Tower, you want to see some of the prisons like the Raft, the Vault, the Ravencroft Institute. Maybe maybe they can bring in Ravencroft and do some like Halloween stuff, and maybe they can probably put in some stuff from the movies as well. I don't know if there's like a rights thing with the movies, like if they can put stuff in from the movies, but it just feels like everything in the game right now is very generic. Like, it's just snowy tundra, Pleasant Ridge, Pleasant Hill. There's a thing from the comics that you can go into, and that's an actual town. That's an actual area that you can like do missions in and stuff. That would be cool. But all we have now is just these generic snowy tundras, generic desert, generic building, generic this, that, and the other, fighting generic robots. So yeah, that's what I would like to see out of like the actual missions themselves. I just want to go to iconic areas from Marvel Comics lore. Number two is just more to do with the game itself and how the game functions. I would like to see Team Synergies. And what I mean by team synergies is as more characters get released, as more characters get rolled out, I would like to see maybe have like buff increases if you use a certain team. Like say if you use Hulk and She-Hulk together, then you get a buff. You get like all defense goes up by +10, or you use Iron Man and War Machine together, then all like ranged attack goes up by 20, and you use like certain team compositions together, like it will inspire you to use like different characters instead of just your main four. And that's something that the game doesn't have at the moment, because maybe there's not enough characters to justify that. But it's something that Marvel Ultimate Alliance had. It's something that even something like Marvel Future Fight has. Like, I know that's a mobile game, but you want to have like reasons to play as different characters apart from just, oh, I'll play Thor and I'll only play Thor. The game already has that kind of with the Heroic Gauntlet, but I'd feel like having an actual buff, having like a stat buff for using certain characters on your team just makes sense to me. It makes sense like universe wise. It has an in-universe reason for making sense. It just feels right. It feels like that's something that this game should have. And finally, I'd want my number one pick is customization. What I mean by that is the biggest thing that this game like had when it came out was you can build your Avengers team, and like you can do whatever you want, and these characters are yours. And there's a gear system in the game. The gear system is severely underutilized. It's just stats. It's just numbers going up, and it is literally just Yu-Gi-Oh numbers. You're not building for a specific end goal, and there's no reason to use certain gear things together, because you're just looking for what has the highest stats and what does the most damage. What I would like is like actual gear sets. Gear sets have the gears have like some kind of like aesthetic bonus. Like have them change how you look. Yes, that would kind of negate the need for uniforms, but it doesn't really. It doesn't. Like, you can have the uniforms there for if you want, and the uniforms can be full gear sets. Like, if you use a full gear set, you get the Hydra Cap uniform. If you use a full gear set, you get Joe Fixit. You use a full gear set, you get Gladiator Hulk. You use a full gear set, you get the original Sin Armor. And then, like, the uniforms, you can just buy that gear set, and then you have that cosmetic, and like, but then you just mix and match stuff, and that will give you a different cosmetic as well. I don't like this idea of like having recolors or like charging real money for recolors. I don't like that kind of thing. That's very scummy in my opinion. And it feels very lazy as well, just having half of the uniforms that you can get be recolors of uniforms you already have. Recolors of stuff that looks cooler how it looks before, because how it looks before is the actual comic book version, and there needs to be kind of more uniforms that are actually, you know, based off comic book stories, and maybe based off the movies as well. And here's another thing: change what, you know, the weapons look like. I've heard somewhere, like, the big parallel between this and Destiny, and the reason why Destiny gets it right and this game gets it wrong, is because in Destiny you're chasing guns. Guns are the big thing that you're getting. Each gun looks different. Each gun does a different thing, and the aesthetics to that are different as well. Here, it's like you can change Cap's shield, but it looks the same, and all that changes if it has gamma on it, it will be green. If it has cryo on it, it will be blue when it goes out. If it has fire damage, it will be on fire when it goes out. Why is that? Why can't you can change the look of the rest of the character, but the shield stays the same? Why is that? If you make the shield is already its own separate gear. Why is that not the thing that everyone's going after? Everything else can just be a bonus to that, but the shield, because the shield doesn't, or the actual weapon itself, the repulsors, the shield, the rock that Hulk picks up, the guns, the bow, and Mjolnir, the hammer, those should be aesthetically customizable through the gear that you pick up. Every new hammer that you pick up should look different from the last. Every new shield that you pick up should look different from the last. Every new bow should look different. And there's no real reason for it not to, because they're the one things that aren't changed by having different cosmetic items on, by having different costumes on. That makes absolutely no sense to me why that isn't already in the game, and that should be in the game. There should be gear sets. Uniforms should give you bonuses as well. Uniforms should change your actual moveset as well. Like, there needs to be some kind of like customization as to give you reason to play with different things, and to, like, you know, mix and match and experiment. There's no experimentation with this game. The experimentation comes from, like, unlocking new skills, and you stop unlocking skills at level 50, and then you're grinding for an extra, like, 100 hours per character, like, to get higher stats and to just raise Yu-Gi-Oh numbers. And, like, that just... At the moment, there is nothing to really justify experimenting with different gear loadouts, with different costumes. It's just pick what looks nice, and pick all the gears that have the highest stats. That's it. There's no real stat boosts from using specific gears with each other. There's nothing that, like, incentivizes farming specific gears. Even incentivizing farming exotics. Farming exotics is pointless, because A, they're really common, and B, they're not better than legendaries. They're not much better anyway. But anyways, that's 5 things that I want to see come to Marvel's Avengers. I know every video that I make about this ends up being a rant, but I promise this game is good. I promise I enjoy this game. But you can enjoy something and have problems with it. You can enjoy something and want to see it do things better. You can criticize something and enjoy it as well. It's a part of being part of a fan base. If you just like solidly go, I don't like this because of blah 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 blah, then that's fair enough. But also, I don't think you're opinion is valid at that point. If you're saying, I hate this game because it hasn't given me what I wanted in the first few months of the game, and I want to play as Spider-Man right now, then I think that's a bit, there's a bit of like, you know, there's a bit of like spoiled child energy coming from that. But if you're like, I love this game, there's no problems, everything is perfect, then yeah, you're also wrong. You're also wrong because I respect your opinion, and if you think that, then you're obviously very easily easily pleased. But I do think that this game is on an uphill battle. I think the launch was so bad that anything that this game is on really thin ice with a lot of people, because they paid a lot of money to get not a lot of content and not a lot of stuff, and they charge extra for stuff that doesn't really do anything. You can buy new costumes, but they just look nice. They're just shiny. They don't actually do anything, like outside of making you look cool. But you could also just unlock those things by playing the game. But yeah, I didn't go into many of the like crossplay. I didn't go into crossplay because it's not something I necessarily care about at the moment, because like I said, none of my friends in real life play this game. None of my friends in real life play Marvel's Avengers. I don't think any of them will anytime soon, because of just not being into the property. You know, you can't force someone to play a Marvel game if they don't like those characters, or if they don't want to play a Marvel-based game. But yeah, there's, you know, I enjoy what is here, but also I have to say what needs to be said, and this game needs to kick up the back arse. It needs to be like shocked back into life, and at the moment it seems like stuff is on the horizon. We've got Clint coming, we've got, you know, stuff coming with Clint. We don't know what stuff, but stuff. Maestro might be a villain sector, might be a boss fight, might be exactly the same as Hulk, but who knows. We've already got a boss fight that is a carbon copy of Hulk. Maybe don't do another one, because that is ridiculously lazy again. Like, if you just reuse assets, because you've got two bosses in the game that are just reuse assets, and then you've got the super Adaptoid, which is reused assets again. So that seems really lazy. If you're going to make Maestro reused Hulk assets again, that just will strike as really lazy to me. But yeah, I want this game to be good, man. I want this game to be amazing, and it has potential, but that's not where I want it to be. When I heard there was an Avengers game out, I wanted like this to be, this is the game that I will, you know, this is the game that's gonna, you know, be my game. That's what I wanted Marvel's Avengers to be, and it's not. At the moment, at least it's not. I'm trying to make that the reality, but like, there's just not enough interest in the game. And I'm going to see how this video does, and if it does well, then I'll probably continue to talk about Marvel's Avengers in the future. If it doesn't, I'll probably continue to talk about Marvel's Avengers in the future anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about with this game, and not a lot of stuff being done at the moment, or not a lot of stuff like in the foreseeable future. Everything's being talked about, nothing has a date, and that is the most annoying thing. It's the fact that nothing has a date. You can't ask anyone for a date because no one's got a date for anything. And whenever you ask for something, they're like, we're working on it. We'll have it to you as soon as it's finished. And well, that's better than the launch went. It's better than the launch went. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.